book with Brick River. It's a new product that we've been working on. Today we'll cover intro to branding, like what is branding, brand book uses, do you really need a brand book, brand book elements, like what's in a brand book, and how to get started. Okay, so what is branding? Branding is a very valuable part of today's marketing landscape. Brands can use it to stand out from the competition. They can establish their clear identity and emotionally connect with customers. So when you look at this image to the right, you can see like very recognizable logos, and you most likely have a perception of that company. So that's really like their brand. That's what we're talking about. It's like what people think of when they think of your company. So in order to establish a good brand, you have to come up with brand identity. So these are any of the visible elements of your brand, such as the logo, your color, your design. So our brand book is meant to combine your branding and the brand identity, include all of these elements. So do you really need a brand book? So there's a few reasons why it's really important and helpful to have a brand book. The first reason is that you can maintain consistency with your brand. You can share with your company and any partners that work with your company on projects and partners to make sure that there's consistent brand delivery. You can establish credibility with the brand book, so your audience will begin to recognize your brand, which leads to loyalty. And by a study by Lucid Press, if you do this across all of your platforms, you can actually increase loyalty and revenue by up to 23%. So it does matter to your audience that your messaging is consistent and it establishes credibility, which leads to loyalty. And the last reason is that it can increase efficiency. So you'll eliminate questions from other departments, like such as where can I get the logo? How do I use the logo? What, messaging should I provide? Like anyone new hires, this will be really helpful for them when they're trying to connect with your branding and know how to use these elements. So while there might be a lot of time and research that you have to do upfront, at first, you have to pull together all of these elements and be on the same page with your shareholders. While there's a lot of work up front, it will lead to more efficiency and smooth sailing down the road. So our goal with creating our brand book was to create a beautiful template that you can really make your own. By just filling in your info, content, your unique files. But we wanted to make it beautiful. It's website responsive. It has a generated sidebar menu. Like none of this stuff you have to code. It's really plug and play and beautiful once you put in your information. So these are the elements included. You have things such as your brand identity with your logo, colors, photography, graphics, and then everything with your brand strategy. So your mission, your core values, brand positioning, which is like what makes your brand unique to others, like compared to others, your voice and tone, any like brand personality things you want to throw in there, and your personas. I get this question a lot, like what is a persona? It's a fictional audience member. So like based off of your audience that say you primarily work with underdeserved communities who are homeless that need help. You can identify their like a fictional person to represent that specific demographic and call out their needs and wants, and that'll help you identify with your audience, relate to them, develop empathy with them, so that anyone onboarding into your company knows that those are the people that your company is for. So there's a lot you can get into with each one of these elements, and I'll try not to go too far in depth today, because there are, you can look up all of these different elements online and find, how do I make a brand intro? How can I make a mission statement? But all of these elements it's really hard to actually create a brand. And it's important, but there's a lot to it. So just high level, like you have your story, so, just a general overview of your company. You can have your mission statement, which is really addressing like what you do and for who. So who is, or what is to eliminate hunger and underserved communities, and then for who is underserved communities, and how is through food distribution and education. You can have a lot of, voice and tone and voice and personality. These are really just like adjectives that you can expand on within the brand book, but they're unique to your company. So as I talked about your logo, you have like your logo, and then you can include all of the different versions of your logo, so that people can easily download them, use them all in one place. This includes like white logos on dark backgrounds, and then like dark logos on white backgrounds, and like the usage for these things. So like your specifications on logo size, you can include any colors, like what not to do, like don't squish the logo, don't put your logo next to certain elements, or whatever is really like specific to your brand, you can include. You can also include your brand colors, which are, your primary, secondary, tertiary colors, any neutral colors you have. One unique thing about Brick River's brand book is that we have like a bit of code that will generate, based off of your color, all of the light hues and the dark hues for all of your colors. And it's just, you don't have to do anything. That's really helpful, at least for me, because I use it for like website design and graphic creation. It's like very helpful. It's honestly like a really cool element, and we'll get to that. I'll show you guys the what it looks like. We have typography is a big section. You can identify what you use for headlines, your body text, any descriptions about those if you want to get into detail with those. It'll come with the alphabet in the font that you choose to showcase like what that font looks like. You can also include all of your photography. It'll kind of look like, kind of a mood board is the way we have it set up, where hovering over all of the files, you'll find you can download them and view them, but really saying like what stylistic choices your brand went with. Like we like people that are not stock photography. We want, authentic, real people versus like do's and don'ts of photography as well. Okay, so now that we have the what and why, let's get started on how to actually build a brand book. So I just want to show you the Brick River brand book. So this is the Brick River brand book that we created using the product. You see there's like your logo, a link to your website if you want, but you can link to this from your website, but it's really meant to be like an internal document or page. You have like the intro paragraph. This could be anything that you identify with your brand. It could be a graphic, illustration, photograph. Your mission statement is nice and big. All of these sections are separated equally, like very aesthetically pleasing, so you can just like plug in your information and boom, there you go. You have like your priorities and your brand positioning statement. This menu, actually, you can jump to each one of these sections, which is helpful. Your values can really define for anyone working with you. This is really helpful when onboarding or sharing for projects. Your voice and tone, your client personas. This is what I was talking about earlier with, you can like put out their needs and frustrations and help you identify and empathize with your audience. This is the colors section, where if you hover over it, it actually copies the hex code to your clipboard, which is really helpful. And then this is the tints and shades maker. So by just adding this one primary blue color, it created all of these light and dark shades and hues, which is really fun. And then we have our logos. You can see we did a brief description as to what it was, like what font we used, what color we used, and you can view and download all of these files, and you can even download other file formats here. And it's really the same process with photography, illustrations, graphics. And then this other file section, if you have a PDF already of your brand style guide, any supporting documents for your brand, you can upload them here. And if you don't have these sections, they won't show. So if you don't add or populate those fields, you don't have to worry about it breaking your brand book or not showing up. And you can also add to your brand book over time. So it's meant to be like a evolving document that can grow with your brand. You're gonna wanna keep it updated if you come up with a new product or new colors. You wanna make sure you keep this updated. Okay, so accessing the brand book in Brick River is if you go to org brands. These are all of our brands that we've created just in the process of creating this product. But you would create a new brand and then call it, you know, whatever your brand name is. And then you have access to the form or the view where you can plug and play all of your information. Here is a little preview of what this will look like, so you can see it as you're populating it. You can have like this introduction paragraph here is, if you just put it in, it will show up like this. You can change like customize all of the titles, the headlines, you know, everything that we went over earlier. You can add in all of these things here. So it's a really powerful tool that makes it really easy for you to just, you know, focus on your content. And, you know, that's the hard part is just building up all of these, you know, all of this content, getting all those files together. We have helpful like documentation about creating a brand positioning statement if you don't have that, if you don't know what that is. You also don't need to add all of these elements if you don't have them. We also have our brand colors. So I just wanted to show you how to create, like, add a new brand color. Let's say my brand added a new color, I would go in here and call it periwinkle blue. One of my favorite colors. And you can say, oh, it's a tertiary color. You can set the date. You can set what order it will show up in your brand book, and your hex code. And then all of these other sections are optional, like if you had a CMYK version, the Pantone version, any like description you might have. And then you're gonna wanna make sure it's visible. And then when we refresh it, it should work. It should upload. You know, it's probably my sort order that was messing things up. So I'll remove that. Yeah, so obviously there's still some kinks to work out with this, but I'm working on this, like, as we're going, it's a work in progress, so I encourage you to reach out to me if you run into any issues, and we can get that solved, like, pretty immediately. My email is lisa@brookriver.com. You can add in all of the website links. This would be like your external link that would show up in the top right corner of your brand book. And then here are all of the illustrations. So if I were to add a new illustration, I'll just show you, for example, like what's already in here. You would come in here and select, you know, what type of content it is. So it would be, you know, illustration. And it's the same process for all of these different content types. This is where you would add the file and where you would add more file formats if you had them. That is the rundown of the brand book. If you guys have any other questions, I'll be happy to help answer any questions.
Is there anybody on it? Who's on it?
We just concluded, Paul.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh, damn. Who was on it? Who's on it?
everyone here.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Anyways,
Hey, Michael.
I had a quick question.
yeah, go for it.
It was helpful that you shared that, you know, this is more for internal. I wasn't sure the direction of it, but the question I guess I have is, you know, some of our staff use Brook River just barely, just like I need a phone number or email. Some of them are more advanced and will actually do some construction. How's the best way for them to access this? Is it just to go click on the org link and all that, or?
Yeah, so I would just share that link, in the, here, let me share my screen again. If I can.
I think you're taking it. Oh, you know what to do. Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's available at, okay. I think I
Okay,
just
so,
found-
oops. So that would be up here. That's the illustration.
I think I just found it at the very top. Yeah, any of your websites / page.
Yeah, so you would take this part of the URL and then add it to the BHC or whatever the company is, .brtapp.com/ and then affix it to the end of that. And then it'll show the brand book.
The only thing I'll say about that is that would only work for people that have access. So it should be like, for
Yeah,
Michael, it'll be like elca-ses.org/page/brand book/ whatever it is.
yeah.
Because that the BRT app thing is only for authorized, logged in people.
So yeah, I mean, I just plugged this in and it looks like it's public. So this is like a public facing version.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just
weird.
started.
Yeah, so it would be public, like anyone can, with the link would be able to access it.
Okay. Yeah, I just started tinkering around with it. It's really cool. So thank you for doing this. This is something it's been on my list for a while, but I just had a conversation with somebody today who did a video of one of our committees was like, I kind of guessed on the colors and I guessed on the font. I'm like, okay, here you go. This is awesome.
Let us know, as you interact with it, feedback. So we've already had probably what, 2 or 3 sets of interactions with clients and made Buffingtons and stuff. So like, if you find something, let us know. And then, Lisa, mainly, probably, possibly me, or she and I can like do some tweaks.
Yeah, it's definitely still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, and maybe this is one of those tweaks. This is Danette, North Alabama. So I've been playing around with it, and I think it's beautiful and so clean that I don't want to clutter it up. But I am looking for a place, like for our overall conference brand, got the logos, colors, fonts, that kind of thing. But I'm looking for a place where like I could put if you need to abbreviate the conference, use these initials, not these initials, or something like that, that also helps out. Because that's one of our big things is trying to keep our initials, our identity as online sites and that kind of stuff. So is there a logical place I'm missing, or could this be added?
Yeah, I would say maybe the brand voice and tone.
Well, that's a great idea. Actually, I have a follow-up question for her.
Mhm.
Sure.
Which is, there's different, so my question is like, in what part of the brand book, like, so, cause Lisa and I can easily add like a block that says something like brand guidelines, text, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you can just
Yeah.
put it there and it shows up pertaining to the entire brand book. But sometimes people wanna say like guidelines around logos. And so that, maybe there's like guidelines on that, and then there's guidelines on font. And so that's what I wanna know, is it like one box? Or is it many boxes? And remember Lisa, how we have the boxes, we don't have it be an HTML box, but you might say, listen, I need an HTML box here because I need to bold things and stuff like that. But can you speak to that?
Yeah, and if you give me a box, I'm going to fill it in, but I'm thinking like almost an additional instructions, because I know it doesn't need to be very specific each conference, or even like if I did something for our conference versus something for an upcoming event, there might be something I want to say that I don't want to clutter with like the overall brand persona or anything like that, but give some specific instructions that apply to that brand that people would see pretty early on. Because I played with like maybe adding another file, but that's so far down, they're not going to click twice and read that. So I need somewhere that's some visible text that, or just other instructions or additional information, or something that could be a flexible box that we use in different ways.
Could somebody share out their screen, whether it's Lisa or you, and show us like where you think an ideal placement of that might be? I think that can help us craft what we call that box.
Okay.
Could somebody, maybe Lisa or somebody here? Does anybody have the brand book ability? Michael, do you have it, or
I've got
Tiffany?
just a couple of pieces plugged in. I can share
Should
real
we-
quick. It's in the chat.
I just wanna know where it should be.
I mean, I don't have much. I got that. I got mission, values type. This I got to figure out. I haven't figured out the Open Sans is a Google font. I didn't know how to get it in there though.
Yeah,
feel
that's
like,
tricky. That's one of our to-dos is to make that easier. So,
yeah, I don't know if it'd be under about, like, because you even may want hashtags or abbreviations or something. I get what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know where to put it because I don't have it really filled out very well. But
so it sounds to me like we can either put it above, that seems a little strong to put it above mission.
right.
Like it could go right, it could go, be the last thing under about, and then
Yeah, I
it's.
like that. Because
Okay.
it would kind of be an afterthought among some of those other things, but it would get it above like people who are never gonna look at all the color grid because they're not the graphic designer, but they need to know that information.
Okay, so we'll add a box. Now the question becomes, what do we name that thing?
Yeah, yeah,
What do you think, Danette? What did you wanna
Yeah,
call it?
I think more general, the better. So I would either say more about us or more information or additional instructions or something very generic. Because I think different people would use that in different ways if they used it at all.
true, yeah, that's a good point.
What are we gonna call it on the nav, though? It's gonna have to have a name on the nav bar on the side. Additional info?
Mhm.
I think so.
Additional info, okay, alright,
Yeah, and if they don't have it, it just wouldn't show up, so.
alright, so we'll do that.
Great.
Yeah, and I can help you, with the Google font thing if you want. Hang on.
It's tricky, there's like, that's kind of some of the stuff that we have to polish is that. Some things like, where is it tricky? Where is it too tricky to use?
I,
So,
I was able to put my fonts in, but they don't show on the page as the fonts, so I don't know if I did it right or not.
yeah, I think,
Yeah,
right,
so let's say I wanted Roboto.
Hmm.
I would select the family, like select this one. And then from where it's, it's like the font family link. Kind of in the way. But like if you copied this,
Yeah. Okay.
it's that,
Copied, okay. So you copy the embed code.
well, only
Yeah.
part of it, that's the
That's the
problem.
URL though, right?
it needs to be only a part of it though, so I'm just trying to find the.
So maybe I can try to do this better.
Where's my typography section? Oh, there it is. All right. Well, to show you an example of one that was already in there might be better. Yeah, so it's this import URL. So this is like a Google font, and then it's just something like font family, so you just have your font family in there, which I believe is this link here, so it's just this link.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that this is easy, like, it feels to me like that's unfinished, that we need to make that easier. One thing I was thinking was making that a drop down of like, or pick your Google font. You know what I'm saying? They just pick it and it just does it for
Yeah, yeah, especially the loading in the brand, like actually getting the page to use this font is a little bit
them, right?
harder.
Yeah, cause I was able to put in that URL, but it's not loading it.
So that's controlled in this like page styles section. Where you can add, also it's like you can add the fave icon here. That's where you add that. And then you can relate the brand font that you already set in there. So you can relate the headings font and the body font in the page styles.
So maybe what we can do is we can do additional info, we can talk about whether we should, your idea about separating brand styles from brand book, and just put it all in brand book,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I think so.
Yeah, all right, separate BB from styles. And then, maybe there's a Google font picker, but,
Yeah, but this will actually have the font appear that way in the typography section only. So it's not gonna change like the fonts of the whole brand book. Or anything like that. It's just that one section.
yeah, what we might do is we might separate the styles from the brand book to make it easier to know what to do, because that's where you were running into
Yeah,
confusion, Tiffany, and Lisa had that idea a couple of weeks ago, and it sounds like, yeah, a decent idea.
I think what I'm not sure it's whether it's working right or not is when you look at my brand book, it says like these are the fonts and it shows, you know, A, B, C, D, but it's not in those fonts.
yeah, that's the page styles, like do you have it added there?
I think so. Page,
See your screen.
page styles is under, oh, brand, okay, hang on. I think I was in brand styles. Sorry. Brand.
What are we doing? Oh, we're working with
Yeah.
Tiffany, all right.
You want me to?
No, I forgot, I just asked her about something, we had something at 2, and I realized what it was, with you.
So are you seeing that or,
Yep,
so I've got, is this in the right place?
so you have the fonts, and then if you scroll down to keep going.
Well, click on page styles.
Right here?
Yeah, I mean, this is where it's confusing for sure, so, yeah, scroll down now, do you have the header and you do have the page setup font? Okay. Can you click on the font for us,
Click
please?
on-
Yeah,
Looks right.
it looks right.
But when I go to the
Yeah.
page, it just shows it like this.
But that could be it, right? No, it's not it.
It
That's
shouldn't be the
not.
same, yeah.
Yeah, huh.
Is your website CSS taken over since that's the public face page?
No, I think it's either some kind of complexity or a bug in our thing. Like, for example, I'm not sure if that's the right import URL. So I think that's why we need to make it simple. I think we need to maybe disconnect it from page styles. And we need to make it easier for you to add in the font without all this thought.
Yeah,
Okay,
And
Alright,
just
so-
another little coding thing, I noticed like mine started to work when I took out the weight colon 300.
Oh.
It didn't, it's still not showing the right font, but it is actually showing a font. Because I noticed whoever just shared, I guess Tiffany's, it was without the weight, and because I couldn't get it to show up in my typography section, and now it shows up. I don't know.
yeah, I wonder if it's like, it needs to match the weight. Like the weight that you select with the import URL needs to match the one you select in the drop
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, I had 300, it was showing weight 300, but maybe it wasn't. Could be a glitch on my side.
Big bug.
Okay, so we'll work
Anyway.
on that font issue. Okay,
I love the color thing, that shading tool is really cool.
isn't it? It's so helpful for me too.
Yeah, I know, we're using it all the time. We're trying to, we're redoing the console too, and, we wanna have like, different hubs in the console, and we'll have like a brand hub. But then, I wanna internalize some of that stuff, so you don't have to go out to the brand book to get it, like, you click on the brand hub, or I think we're gonna call them centers, the brand center. And then you can see your componentry, you can see your shadings, and then it's just like right there, boom, I can get it right there, inside my Brick River, not having to go out.
Yeah, and making that URL more clear, like clarify the URL for the brand book.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
probably gonna be helpful.
so we can sub this out as we're doing,
Yeah.
as we're doing our prototype, like we can do the brand center, and then boom. Okay.
You guys have any other questions?
No, so you'll get back to us on the font thing? Or tell us if it's clearer or something?
Yeah, we're gonna work on those 3 issues.
Yeah,
4 issues, 4 issues.
yeah, the color, there was a color issue that
Oh, really?
it broke it, yeah. I don't know what I did, but
Oh, the color issue?
it was literally working this morning and then I was like, here, I'll show everyone, and then it broke.
Oh, okay. So there's color issues. Okay. Alright, cool.
Well, thank you guys for giving us feedback and hopping on here today.
This is great.